Turn me up just a little bit. Yeah, it's that man space vibe. Step in the zone, microphone check. Russ and Les got the real intellect. Talk smooth like jazz on a late night set. With a convo deep and the topics connect. From the struggles to the wins, they address it with grace. Drop lines so cool, you can feel the bass. Two kings of the craft, and you know the rest. Kick back, pour a drink, welcome to the space. You go chillin' with Russ and Les. You go chillin' with Russ and Les. You go chillin' with Russ and Les. Hang out, cause now you vibing with nothing but the best. Space forever.
Welcome into another edition of the Manspace Podcast. Now, this is the voice of Russ, and with me, as always, gearing up for the Michael Jackson biopic, the one and only Big Les.
I'll tell you what, man. I ain't been that skinny since I was like 10 years old. So, and I ain't never had a curl. Never had a jerry. So, I prefer the frolicking picture we did the week prior. So, how about that one? My guy, revenge is going to be sweet.
My wife doesn't like when I pick on you like this these days.
See?
She made a comment. She's like, "Oh, so does this get you any more viewers on social media?" I'm like, "I don't post this on social media." But then every time I show her one, she busts out laughing. So,
exactly. She still kind of like me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? A little bit. Yeah. It's all good though. I'll just keep up with the frolicking one. I'm all right with that one.
But can you give me a little hee?
Uh-oh.
So, bro.
Yeah, man.
I went to this upscale restaurant. And,
okay.
I ordered my favorite salad, which is a Caesar salad.
Okay.
And I learned something. I was educated on something that I did not know.
On the salad. You was educated on the salad.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Because I felt
explain.
like at that moment, I felt like the guy on social media, you telling me for 40 years.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah.
That's the way I felt.
Oh, Lord. You about to educate me now, right?
Did you know that on Caesar salads, that a lot of times they put anchovies in the salad?
I know that that's the traditional way.
And anchovies are used to make the dressing.
It's so salty to me.
If you look at Olive Garden dressing,
yeah.
If you look at Ken's, for Caesar salad,
it's got
anchovies in it. Yes.
Well, that explains a lot to me. I'm not a huge Caesar fan because I don't like the dressing that much, right? And it's not because I don't eat fish. It's just because anchovies are too. They're very strong for me.
Yeah, I had no clue. So
okay,
I had heard that Worcestershire sauce was used. They used a fish in it, right?
Don't play with me.
It's anchovies, dude.
Oh my God!
The traditional way to make Caesar salad dressing was originally done with Worcestershire sauce, so it's always had anchovies in it.
I'm done. I'm done.
I was outdone. I did not know this. Like, I'm sitting there looking at my salad, and I see these little, like, are these anchovies in the salad?
I can't wait to tell Miss Les this. Because see, she be on my neck about, she likes to use Worcester sauce on certain things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not a huge fan of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I guess when you mix it with other things, it mellows and it changes. So I'm not gonna complain too much, right? But I'm not a huge fan of, like, we got a big old bottle of it right now.
Yeah.
And she's like, you should use this as your base to put on, your meat when you season it for the grill. And I'm like, I'm not putting that crap on my time. I don't. Because I don't. All the time. It's something about it that I just can't get with. And now I know. I've never paid, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm gonna start. I'm gonna take my readers into the grocery store from now on. And I'm gonna read every single label. I should be doing this anyway. However, the anchovy thing, that deeply offends me for some reason, because I know I'm not a huge anchovy fan, but now I know why. I don't like certain other things because of it. Okay, I can't wait to go tell her it's dead little salty fish in your Worcester sauce.
In your wash your sister sauce.
In your wash your sister sauce. No wonder. I can't. I'm gonna text her right now and tell her it's dirty little dead fish in your Worcester sauce, in your wash your sister sauce.
Yeah, my mind was blown.
Wow,
my mind was blown.
So let me ask you this, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever had something called a smelt? Do you know what smelts are?
A smelt is a fish.
Yeah.
I've never knowingly had smelt.
Really?
Yeah. I know it's a fish, but I've never knowingly had it.
Okay. All right. It's something that I don't know. I ask people. I think you're probably like one of the first Southerners that actually knows. Like, if I ask them that knows what a smelt is. But I'm assuming. But when I was a kid, we used to eat them quite frequently because they were cheap, and you can used to get the big pack of them. Yeah. But you eat like 40 of them. You know what I mean? Because they this big.
They're like sardines.
Yeah, they're like little sardines. And Mama used to take them, bro. Mama used to season them boys up and put some cornmeal on them and deep fry them.
What?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No head, no guts. Season them. Okay. Throw cornmeal on them. Deep fry them bad boys. Man, when you're there, you just pick the little thing. Just kill them. I wonder how many people have had deep fried smelt. Because I don't know anything else. I don't know anything else that you would do with it but deep fried. And I have not seen one in the store here, period.
Now I'm curious to look for this. We're going to have to throw that out to the Manspace Nation and see if they have tried this. And my question to the Manspace Nation is, if one side of you and your relationship like smelt and the other side doesn't, is it a relationship killer? See how I'm tying this into our guest? I'm trying to bring it all together. Is it a deal breaker?
Is it a
Do you need relationship therapy? Do you have to go to counseling over having one side of you like something and one side of you doesn't?
Well, possibly. But that's a good one, though.
Listen,
earlier today, I got the honor to sit down with Nancy Picard, a certified relationship coach. And, we're going to talk relationships and how to make our relationships better, coming up after the break. Welcome back, Manspace Nation. So, I have the esteemed honor and pleasure to sit down and introduce our next guest. She is a certified relational coach who helps individuals and couples strengthen communication, deepen intimacy, and navigate challenges, including those relationships that are on the brink of divorce. She helps lead relationship focused retreats and holds multiple coaching certifications all across personal growth, parenting, leadership, and wellness. She's a former gym owner with over 20 years in health and wellness, and now she combines her background in psychology and education with real world experiences to help her clients achieve meaningful change. Now, she is also the best-selling author of the book. She is also the best-selling author of the book Bigger, Better, Braver, and is passionate about guiding others to move beyond fear and step into a fuller versions of themselves. Manspace Nation, give it up for my guest, Miss Nancy Picard.
Miss Nancy, how are you? Welcome into the Man Space today.
Thank you. I'm honored to be in the man space.
Nancy, if you could just share with the Man Space Nation a little bit about yourself and actually why did you make the transition into relationship therapy and things of that nature?
Okay, so I used to own a gym for 16 years. I loved it.
Hmm.
And I really was working with people from the outside in. Now I work with people from the inside out.
Mm,
And
okay.
I worked one-on-one with clients for about 10 years on I wrote a book called Bigger, Better, Braver, Conquer Your Fears, Embrace Your Courage, and Transform Your Life. So all of my work was around shadow beliefs and disempowering
Hmm.
beliefs and what was keeping people stuck and how
Okay.
to get out of that. And then about, oh, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I heard about Terry Real, who
Hmm.
he actually wrote the very first book on male depression ever called I Don't Want to Talk About It.
Hmm.
And he has a whole school with therapists and coaches on
Oh,
relationality. And his work is amazing. He's got 3 books out there. And I just went down the rabbit hole and I never came out. So about 75% of my practice now is couples. And and our work is really steeped in psychological patriarchy and
okay.
why it no longer works for men or women. And a
Hmm.
lot of times what happens is that men just didn't get the memo, right? They didn't get the notice that it doesn't work anymore. But that's like the water we all swim in. And so we don't know we don't know any other way. But it really isn't working. And that's why so many couples are struggling as much as they are.
Well, let's kind of focus on couples because there are a lot of couples, and there may be some that are actually listening to this episode today that feel like their relationship is beyond repair. So, where do you begin in the healing process for them?
It's really interesting. We don't learn how to repair. None of us learned
Okay.
how to repair. Like you didn't see your parents, you might have seen your parents fight. You didn't see them
Hmm.
make up. You didn't see them have to make conversation about it, right?
Might have been
So,
traumatized for life if I did.
yeah, probably. Depends on what they did to make up. But yes,
Right.
I agree. But so what happens is that couples come to us and they're in the cycle and they're doing the same thing over and over again, and they don't realize that they can actually break that cycle
Hmm.
and learn how to do things differently. And we teach them at RLT, that's Relational Life Therapy, we teach them how to recognize when they're in the part of their brain that is, we call it the wise adult part of your brain, where you can make different choices and be flexible and learn how to be vulnerable and communicate. But the other part of our brain, which we call the adaptive child part of our brain, is where we all go when we're triggered. And when you try to fight with your partner or have a conversation with your partner from that part of your brain, it will never go well. And that's the biggest issue out there is that everyone's trying to talk about issues in their triggered fight, flight, freeze, or fixed state,
Right.
and it will never go well.
Wow. You speak of this cycle. What are some of the most common patterns that couples can possibly realize in their own marriages to realize that they are stuck in that cycle?
What's very common is that the woman, let's just talk heteronormative, but it doesn't really
Sure.
matter because in every relationship, there will be somebody who has more of the masculine characteristics and somebody who has more of the feminine characteristics. It doesn't matter about like gender, right? It's
Right.
more the characteristics. So there's usually one up and one down, or one
Hmm.
walled off and one that's very anxious. So what happens in a heteronormative relationship is that generally the woman is more anxious and she wants to repair. And the more she comes after the male, the more he walls off. He's in his
Hmm.
man cave and
Yeah.
he doesn't, you can't reach him there. And the more you can't reach him, the more she tries until she also walls off and then game is over.
Hmm. That's funny because
That's the
I'm sitting
most
in,
normal.
yeah, I'm sitting in my man cave right now with the door shut. So just,
Right,
yeah, kind of
exactly,
walled off. Right.
exactly.
Wow.
Yeah,
So on this show, we end up with a lot of listeners because we do accept emails where you can reach us at the manspace2020 at gmail.com. We receive emails from our listeners and usually we'll talk to them and answer their questions. And sometimes we get uh, emails about couples who are dealing with adultery and trying to rebuild the trust. From a perspective, and I want you to give your perspective as a female, because a lot of times when we're answering, well, every time when we're answering it from a male perspective, but from a female perspective,
yeah.
when you are on the receiving end of it, how can a man regain your trust?
Mm. You know, first of all, it could be any kind of infidelity. It can be
Mm,
gambling, it can be alcohol, it can be drug
mm,
addiction, it can be sexual. Any kind of infidelity breaks trust.
mm,
And that's the major thing. It not only breaks trust, but it rewrites history. You
mm,
know, well, where were you when you said this and when you did that?
right,
And how could you tell me you loved me when you were doing this? Like all of that. And so when I work with an infidelity, the first thing I do is I really make sure that the injured party gets to ask every single question they want to ask, and that the affair party answers truthfully. And a lot of times I will caution the affair party that your partner knows a lot more than you think they do. So you have to be honest right now. You're trying to rebuild trust, and you can't rebuild trust if it's still going on and you're still hiding and you're still making up stories.
right,
So that's the first step, is to get everything out. Ask every single question you want. And then if the injured party decides they want to stay, I actually think that they deserve a blank slate, a clean slate to start over, because you can't come back in and still be
right,
punishing them from everything that happened.
right,
So you have to make
right,
a decision. I'm choosing. I know what happened, but I'm choosing to stay. And once you choose to stay, it's now like relationship 2.0, and you can't keep bringing it up. You can have very specific boundaries. I need to be able to look at your phone. I need to like have a GPS tracker on you. I need to, be able to look at your
wow,
computer. Like you could have those kinds of boundaries set up for X amount of time so that you feel safe, because that's what's been broken. Safety and trust
mm,
has been broken.
mm,
If the affair party doesn't want to participate with those boundaries, that's up to them. Like everybody has
right,
agency here.
yeah,
But
yeah.
this is how I set it up, and if you want it to work, that's what you need to do.
Oh, wow. Wow. Um, what would you say that to the response of a man that says, "Hey, well, if you love me, you should trust me"?
I'd say that's BS. I think that if you had an affair, you lost your credibility, right?
Right.
Why would I trust you? I trusted you, and look what happened.
Hmm. Do you believe in, I guess, for lack of a better terms, two wrongs make a right? So before that blank slate is given, there's the opportunity for the injured party to get their revenge out the way.
Okay, so that's one of the 5 losing strategies. That's called
Hmm.
retaliation.
Yes.
Retaliation is a losing strategy. It's two
Hmm.
wrongs don't make a right. They
Hmm.
don't make a right, and all you've really done is lowered yourself to the other person's indiscretions.
Right.
They're boundaryless, now you're boundaryless. So
Hmm.
um, I would prefer, if that's something you want to do,
Hmm.
break up, get out there, do what you want to do,
Absolutely.
and if you still
Yeah.
want to come back, come back. But
Hmm.
it's not a tit for tat like that.
Now, what role, and we talk about this a lot on the show and focus on communication. What role does communication play in the healing process?
Huge.
Yeah.
I mean, communication is what it's all about. And
Yeah.
the real problem with couples is
Hmm.
that they don't recognize that there needs to be a speaker and a listener, and they're not the same role, and you don't both get to be speakers. So repair to me is not a two-way conversation. It's a one-way conversation, because if one person is just the listener, their only job is to listen to the subjective reality of their partner. It's not to punch holes in it, it's not to respond, it's to listen so you can say, "Wow, I can see how that hurt you." Like
Right.
I'm not gonna be listening with my answer coming up. I'm just gonna be listening. I don't have to agree, but I'm gonna listen to your subjective reality, and I'm gonna respond to what you're talking about.
So, what are some of the simple ways that couples can work on improving?
You cut out on improving what,
Okay.
communication?
Yeah. So, what are some of the simple ways that couples can work on improving their communication?
Well, the biggest one is to look to ask for what you want. Be brave enough to rock the boat in your relationship, and ask for what you want, so you're getting your needs met. But you're going to do it not from a complaint, but from a request.
Mhm.
And in every complaint, there is an inherent request. Like,
Okay.
you know, we never have any sex, or you never bring it up,
Right.
you could turn that around and say, we deserve a better sex life, what could we do? Or
I like that.
would you be willing, I feel really lonely, and I feel like I'm the only one that ever reaches out. Would you be willing to initiate? That would make me
Mm,
feel better. That's a request, it's not a complaint.
got it. Got it. That makes sense. That definitely makes sense. Um, a lot of times when there is an injured party, and you talked about trying to be honest and allowing the person to ask all the questions that they want to ask. A lot of times the other side gets very defensive. So there's the blame and the defensive side. How do you kind of twist that to from blame and defense to understanding and connection?
Well, with psychological patriarchy in mind, when a man hears a complaint from a woman because he was brought up to be all knowing and be able to fix everything and to be
Logical.
powerful and logical and all of those things, when a woman complains, he hears, I'm not good enough. I'm
Yeah.
not doing the thing I was brought up to be doing. I failed. Or he'll say to defend himself, nothing's enough for you. I can't please you. I can't do anything right. And so that's why you can't complain. That's why you have to make it about yourself and wrap it in a story so that, the story I make up is this and that story makes me feel that, so that the partner can hear it without going into that knee jerk reaction of defensiveness, which is that's the biggest problem. That's why women don't feel seen and heard, because the moment they try to
Mm,
complain or talk about their feelings, the guy hears, I'm not good enough. I can't
right.
fix this. I'm broken. I'm not doing the very thing I was brought up to do. Their ego
Mhm.
crashes and they get defensive.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Now, what is the one of the biggest misconceptions that people carry when it comes to healing and relationships?
Oh, maybe that they're ever going to really heal, right?
Mm,
That they're really going to never have another bad moment or thought about it, because that's not possible. And I'm not saying that everybody who cheats is going to continue to cheat either. I'm not saying
right.
that you can't heal. I do think you can. The old me as a young girl would think, oh my God, if my partner ever cheated on me, I'd be out the door, right? But
Right.
now I
Yeah.
realize
Of
that
course.
there is sometimes people do dumb things, and it's not necessarily has anything to do with you, but a lot of times it might have something to do with you. And so maybe your relationship needed to implode and your partner did it in a very boundaryless way that I wish they hadn't. But
Right.
sometimes that explosion can allow both people to look at their side of the street and start to make changes.
Mhm.
First, they have to heal the infidelity and the
Yeah.
mistrust, but then they can actually work on, well, what brought us here? What wasn't working?
Hmm. Wow. So when you face a couple that's on the brink of divorce, how do you take your personal feelings out of it
Mm.
and and just kind of say, okay, kind of, I guess, lead a horse to water. Let me just lead you there and just see if you can get there on your own and just take your personal stuff out of it. Because a lot of times,
Yeah.
especially when you're sitting there listening to a lot of these couples, it's very hard not to get emotionally attached to hearing a person's story, their trauma and things like that. So how do you take yourself out of it and kind of lead them to where so they can come to their own realizations?
Well, first of all, I try to diagnose who's up and who's down in the relationship, right?
Okay.
One is power over, because in psychological patriarchy, there's always power over. So one
Hmm.
is up and one is down in the relationship. And then from there, I actually try to bring the one that's up and grandiose and shining contempt down. I try to bring them down, and I try to bring the one, we call it the latent, the one who's the one
Okay.
down, right, bring them up. Then if they're at the same as, at least we're in a more relational playing field. They're closer to the center of health. And I listen to everything they're saying. I try really hard um, not to judge, because you really first have to really hear the story and see what's going on. And it's not necessarily that one person is so wrong and one person is so right, but they also, their wounds may be so set together that that there's no way to come back. There may be no way to come back. And I do join through the truth. I do tell people what I think, but I don't, I wouldn't want to be responsible for breaking up a marriage unless
Yeah.
they want to break up the marriage. And then if I believe
Hmm.
it's the right move, I have no trouble telling them.
At what point should they bring therapy into a situation?
As soon as possible.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I do relationship skills courses, and
Hmm.
on Zoom with like 20 people. And the last one I
Yeah.
did, I had 4 couples that were dating and engaged. And
Mm,
that was like amazing for me, because let's get them before they're in trouble. Let's get them
yeah.
in the good stage.
Yeah. So every year, my wife and I, we go to a marriage retreat. And usually in
Hmm.
December, it's usually held by our church, and it's usually about um, anywhere from 30 to about 40 couples that come to this retreat every year.
Nice.
And they're in various stages of marriage. We started coming on our first anniversary and have been going ever since. And you'll see couples that are there from 1 year up to we see couples that have been married for almost 50 years that are going to this thing. But
Great.
I've always been of the mindset of you're not going to drive your car without getting the oil changed, or getting a tune up, or or if you do, you're not going to go very far if you continue to go without getting that maintenance done. And so these these things are like a tune up for your marriage, and that's kind of the way I've always believed with it. And a lot of times when you're dealing with those therapy sessions, or these tune-up sessions, as I like to call them, uh, you can expose a lot of childhood wounds. How do childhood experiences, in your opinion, show up in adult relationships? And a lot of times we don't even realize it's showing up.
The wounds from our childhood are
Mhm.
exactly what we bring into our relationship. And we talk about um, the mysticism of marriage is that you can date all of these people, but then you
Mhm.
marry the one that is most exquisitely designed to poke a hot searing rod in your eyeball. And that's because universally we want you to heal.
Mhm.
So that's why your wounds are so designed to trigger each other. It doesn't make the partner, the wrong partner. It makes them the right partner, but you have work to do. And
Right.
that's why you end up with somebody who's anxious and somebody who's more withdrawn. It's like it's the perfect key and hole. And
Mhm.
so you have to do inner child work with your couples work. And we do it in front of each other so that you can see, oh, wow, now I understand why he walls off, or I
Mhm.
understand why she feels so unsafe. And we can work with that. You can have more compassion for your partner when you actually can see that the thing they're not really doing it to you.
Right.
They're doing the only thing they can do in that moment when they're triggered.
Mm. Hmm. So, what are some of the signs that a couple that's in conflict, uh, their issues are rooted in unresolved childhood wounds?
Well, I think it's a given. All right. I
Mhm.
think people should realize that we all, regardless of whether we think we had a great relationship with our family of origin or not,
Right.
we all have wounds. And also, just psychological patriarchy itself sets us up for all these issues. So, if you've got a very grandiose father and you're a male, you're also going to become very grandiose. I mean, if your father was walled off and didn't share emotions, you're not going to know how to share emotions. It
Right.
goes generation to generation. And if there's a lot of emotion around something, what we say is if it's hysterical, it's historical,
Mm.
meaning it didn't just happen. It's not just this fight that you and I are having. It's carried energy from our childhood. It could be carried energy from 3 generations passed down also.
Wow.
So there's so much involved in how a couple ends up together. and what their wounds are and what their childhood have brought into it. And that's the work. We work on all of that.
Well, when you look at over 50% of marriages end in divorce, a lot of times you got a lot of these marriages that are now on their second marriages. How do you not take the wounds from your previous marriage into your new marriage?
They come with you. You
Okay.
do bring them. You bring them. It's baggage. You bring them.
Yeah.
And so situations that happen, beliefs that you have, sensitivities that you have, triggers that you have, they come
Mhm.
either from your family of origin or they come from your past big relationship, or
Right.
they could come from the relationship that you're in because the same thing has happened so many times
Right.
that you're overly sensitive to that thing. And one other thing I'll say about that is that because of all these different reasons and ways that we bring stuff in, that's why I don't actually think there's a right and wrong as much as there's this is triggering your partner, and maybe it wouldn't trigger a different partner, but this is the partner you have and it does trigger this partner.
Mm.
So it's not so
So,
much that somebody's right or wrong, is that
right.
the mix of the two is it's a problem.
So how do you guide individuals to recognize and take responsibility for their own triggers?
I show it to them. Like, we talk about it. I tell them what I
Mm-hmm.
see, and then I'll say, where did you see that happen? Or in your childhood? Who did it to you? Who did you see do it? Or who did you do it to and you got away with it? Because those are the three different ways that those adaptations come about.
So a lot of times when it comes to couples, whether they're married or dating or things like that, and they're facing conflicts, how can couples create a safe space to talk about pain, past pain, without it escalating into conflict?
So I like to use, I mean, it's an RLT tool, but we use a timeout. So let's
Mm-hmm.
say I get triggered. I can tell that I'm in my adaptive child part of my brain, or my partner is. I will call a timeout, which means right or wrong in this moment, I don't trust the next thing that's going to come out of my mouth, and I don't want to escalate what's happening. I'm going to take a timeout. I'm going to work on my side of the street. I'm going to get myself back into my wise adult part of my brain. So I'm going to get regulated. And then I'm going to come back, and maybe the next day I can say to you, hey, there's something I want to talk about. Is this a good time? I'm going to contract to have that kind of conversation. And when I'm asking, is this a good time? What I really mean is, I'm going to be in my wise adult part of my brain. Can you be in your wise adult part of your brain?
Okay.
Are we both regulated enough to have an open, honest conversation without getting triggered?
Hmm. Interesting. So, what are some practical tools that couples can use to be able to respond to each other with more empathy and be kind of less reactive to each other?
Well, the biggest tool is, again, to make sure that you are in the right part of your brain. So
Hmm.
the timeout is the number one rule, the number one tool. And then I teach the feedback wheel, which is a way to actually ask for what you want in a way that's not triggering to your partner. And it's a 4-part, you could just Google feedback wheel, Terry wheel, and you'll get it all. And so we are teaching people what the 5 losing strategies are, and then we teach
Hmm.
them what winning strategies are, and we teach them, you know, when they're regulated, when they're not regulated, and how to ask for what you want, and how to be a good listener, and how to be a good speaker, and how to take a time out, how to do a dead stop contract. Like, these are all tools that we teach our clients after we've done the relationship work and we've done the inner child work. Then we do the skills work.
Interesting. So, when it comes to the childhood wounds within a relationship, um, what kind of work can be done to help heal those wounds once they are identified?
We do some experiential work where we will go down and talk to the wounded child and go down and talk to the adaptive child. We write letters to the adaptive child to help them. We love on them because what the adaptations that they made actually kept us safe. We're all here, right? But what was adaptive in our childhood is maladaptive now. And so instead of blaming that part of us, we love on that part of us, but we also say, but from now on, I'm going to put you in the back seat. I'm driving the car. And we help teach you when you're feeling those feelings and to make a different choice, to pause, to do some breath work so you can make a different choice. That's what we teach you how to do.
So when you're working with a couple, what gives you the most hope to feel like they're on the verge of a breaking point?
I have to get them back to recognizing they're not on the same team anymore. They're not on the same team. It's my needs, my this, my this. You did this, you did that. If you're not on the same team love, right? If you're not back on that team, I can't help you. So I have to get you back on the same team. And then we can do the work to heal, and we can do the work to make things better. But I can't do that if you're both totally in your own world.
My son said this to me one day, and talking about him and his wife, and my wife and I share the motto: it's not you versus me, it's me and you versus the problem.
Yeah.
And so we have these shirts that we had made with team on it and our names, and we wear those a lot of times when we're out, and just to show that, hey, we are a bond, we are a unit. And so I never want to be able to address a problem and say, well, you did. I'm like, well, what can we do to solve the problem? And
exactly,
it just makes
right.
such a difference. Yeah. It definitely makes such a difference. But in your expertise, what does a truly healthy, thriving relationship look like?
It's the fact that you've learned how to repair. So every relationship is made up of harmony, disharmony, and repair. When you don't know how to repair, you go from harmony to disharmony and harmony to disharmony, but it's not really back to harmony because the resentment builds up and injuries stay and ruminating happens. If you learn how to repair, it doesn't really matter how often you get into disharmony because you're going to communicate and be vulnerable and intimate and find your way back.
That is so awesome. Wow, Nancy, we've kind of just scratched the surface. There's so much more that I feel like I could really just take the time and ask you and just kind of pick your brain for like another hour or so. But can you share like your social media, your website? How can people find out about your program, your coaching program, and things like that?
So Nancy Picard lifecoach.com is my website, and all my different offerings are on there. And there's always a button for a free discovery call just to see if we'd be a good fit and how I could help you and stuff like that. Nancy Picard, Life Coach, is my Instagram, my Facebook, my LinkedIn. And if you go to my Instagram, I have 2 or 3 reels every single week that are all about these issues. I give it all away. Like if you went through and watched like 30 reels, you wouldn't need me.
Yeah.
All my stuff is there.
Wow. Nancy, thank you so much for spending time with us. But before we go, I have one last thing for you, and it is called.
And now, the last word.
For someone who is listening today and they feel like they're stuck in their marriage, they're discouraged in their relationship, and don't know what to do, what is one of the first steps that they can take today?
Besides hiring me, you mean?
I love that. I laid that one up for you right there.
I couldn't help it. It's like the obvious answer. I think the first thing to do is to call it out and to say to your partner, I think we can do better than this. This is a we problem. They can also listen to Fierce Intimacy, Terry's book on Audible, or The New Rules of Marriage, or Us. Those are great ways to start. And of course, follow me on Instagram, because
Yes.
you will get so much great information just by reading my stuff. I give it all away there.
Yeah. And one more time, can you share your Instagram again, please?
Yeah, NancyPicard, lifecoach.com.
Awesome.
Nancy Picard Life Coach is the Instagram. The .com is the website.
Yes. Awesome. Nancy, thank you so much for spending time with us here on the Man Space. I definitely appreciate you. Much success in the coaching program. One more time, mention your book, please.
Oh, Bigger, Better, Braver. Conquer your fears,
Bigger,
embrace
Better,
your courage. Yeah, Bigger, Better, Braver.
Awesome. Awesome. Man Space Nation, Nancy Picard, make sure you go out, follow her, get on her website. If you are in need of help, make sure you check out her website. Get on her Instagram, follow her Instagram, and just watch these reels and help try to rebuild your relationship. Nancy, thank you again. And I definitely appreciate spending time with you here today.
Thank you. It's been fun.
As we do each week, we like to close the show with just a little bit of inspiration. When we talk about keeping the spark alive in a marriage, we often imagine something dramatic, something cinematic, something that exists or either fades away on its own. But the truth is, it's quieter and in many ways way more powerful than that. The spark is not something you find once and protect it forever. It's something you create again and again and again in small, intentional moments. It lives in the decisions to listen when you're tired. It's choosing kindness when it would be easier just to be right. It lives in the laughter that you share that nobody else would understand. And remembering that the person beside you is your partner, not just in responsibility, but in wonder as well. Over time, life will test that spark. There will be stress, routine, disappointment, and change. There will be days when love feels effortless, and there will be days when love feels like it's work. Both are normal. Both are part of being something real. But what matters is not avoiding those seasons, but navigating how you move through them. You keep the spark alive by staying curious about each other, by refusing to believe you already know everything there is to know, by asking questions, sharing thoughts, by growing not just alongside each other, but with one another. You keep it alive by protecting time together, not just when it's convenient, but especially when it's not. Because connection doesn't happen by accident, it happens by choice. Marriage is not about holding on to a perfect feeling, it's about building something resilient, something evolving, something deeply human. The spark doesn't disappear, it changes shape. It becomes steadier, deeper, warmer. And if you care for it, if you nurture it, if you honor it, that's the only way it will not only last, but it will grow. Manspace Nation, so hold on to the small moments, protect the connections, and choose each other again and again, because the spark you keep alive today becomes the light you carry through a lifetime. Until next time.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, man. It's all about, you know, keeping that spark alive, and whether you feel it waning on anything, you know, maybe you do be like with our guest today, reach out to her or somebody that you feel comfortable with and get some counseling help, you know, something that can help save your marriage, you know.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that you continue to go through it. You know what I mean? You gotta get some help, man. Sometimes everything is not meant for you to fix. Sometimes it takes someone else to see some things in order to fix them. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I hate that you weren't able to be a part of the interview that we had with Nancy. Nancy sends her regards and her hellos to you.
Yeah.
As well.
Hey, Nancy, I'm sorry I couldn't be there either. I'm sure this would have been a great one because I'm a little thick. I'm a little thick-headed. Yeah.
Duh.
So listening to you and Nancy, I found myself rethinking a lot about, you know, what I thought made relationships work. You know, as I mentioned earlier, I'm a little thick-headed sometimes. You know, that part about people not learning how to repair, that really stuck with me. Yeah. You know, because I didn't know that either. You know, and it's hard sometimes, you know, but most of us never saw that growing up, you know, so it's hard to realize something if you've never seen it. Mostly all of us know about is conflicts. You know, we saw conflicts after conflicts, but no resolutions because they fought in public, but they made up in secret.
Yeah, so that was one of the things that she brought up was how, you know, we may have seen, you know, our parents fight, but we never really see them make up, you know, and like I told her, I'm like, if we did, we probably got some emotional scars.
Hey, it'll be over with. It's a wrap.
Some completely different type of damage is going on at that point.
We didn't hear the communication portion of the makeup, right? There was a makeup, I'm sure of it. 30 years together, there was a makeup someplace.
Some way. You get here by accident.
But we didn't hear it, and we damn sure didn't want to see it. You know what I mean? Traumatizing. You know what I mean? Traumatizing. That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a really good interview with Nancy. You know, make sure you check out her website.
Yeah.
Go and check out her book as well. I mean, and if you are in a situation where, you know, your marriage, even just as an individual, and you want some counseling help, reach out to her. You know, go to her website and reach out to her, and she, you know, she'll help you break down the walls of communication.
Yeah, man. Because I appreciated how she broke down the communication. You know what I mean? Especially the idea that you can't, you know, both be speaking at the exact same time.
Yeah.
It's just doing this. You know, you gotta sit back and you gotta allow one person to say how they feel, so the other person feels like they're being heard, and then you can voice your opinion. Have communication. I've always said it. I had to learn that, and in this stage of my life, we don't do all the arguing, fussing, and fighting. We communicate, right? We talk to each other, and you can get more problems solved by just talking to each other and listening. You know,
it's just like the show. You know, if both of us are talking at the same time, it doesn't make for a good show.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Oh.
I'm glad we know how to shut up when the other one's talking. Hey, the bad part about it is we've been in a relationship a long time. People don't know that. They just know these last 5 years. But there's like 10 prior to that. You know? You only get to see the good stuff. We already got rid of all that other stuff.
And with that said, ManSpace Nation, you know what happens every Monday night on WTMSTV.com. You can get the latest episodes before they air 2 days early to the rest of the world on WTMSTV.com at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And then on Thursday nights, it's Throwback Thursdays with classic episodes of the ManSpace Podcast with back-to-back-to-back-to-back episodes. WTMSTV.com starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
Yeah.
Now, on that note,
we out of here.
No gimmicks, just game that my sure in sight. They shine like the city on a Friday night. Man talk, real talk, that's the way that you bless. Giving knowledge and some laughs in the same finesse. From life goals to the jokes that hit. They the tag team champs, yeah, legit with the wit. So pull up a chair, let the stress digest. From the beat drops, you know the rest.